Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you use, and of course on YouTube, because we are live, aren't we?
Live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello, little tadpoles.
Tadpoles, poison pals. More importantly, welcome our friends to the show. It's a Sunday. We've falled back. Is that what we've done? Fall back?
We've gained an hour. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't remember how this time change thing works, but basically it means we don't have to now change the number on our oven because we've just had it. We've had it an hour. We've had it an hour late since the last time. So look at us. We're so smart. That's what I've been waiting for. Why succumb to these trivial ages of people trying to tell me what time it's supposed to be? No, screw you.
And think next time there's a time change, we might not even have this oven. We might not even be here. Who knows?
It's also possible.
I'm not saying we'll be dead. I'm just saying we might not live in this place.
Yeah, the world could end. We could all be fucking dead. Yeah,
so let's rejoice. Our oven is correct, and I hope everyone else's Sunday is just as exciting as that.
Yeah. Luckily, like cell phones, iPhones, all the smartphones, they do it automatically and everything. But like people who still use alarm clocks and ovens and times and things like that, you do have to manually do them. But we were lazy since the last one, and our oven was always an hour ahead. So really, we just saved time doing that. So
there was a period of time, maybe 10, 15 years ago, where not everything would update itself. So computers and like mobile phones, some would and some wouldn't. So it just made it even more confusing because you'd wake up and you'd look at your phone and be like, okay, is this right? Is it 8 o'clock? Is it 9 o'clock? What is it? And I know back home, there used to be a thing where you could phone, I think you dialed 123 and you'd have someone read you the exact time. So that's what
time is it, please?
It would just be like some woman's voice being like, the time is 10:32 and 31 seconds. So we'd always do that to just make sure all our clocks are correct, because some things would have changed, other things wouldn't have.
That's so weird. I've never heard of that. But you guys are also weird over there because you guys you don't have like 911. You have like 999 or something.
999. Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah. I swear it is easier, but maybe it's like by accident you accidentally like butt dialed the same number. It's like switch it up.
Although just think back in the days when you had those like analog, like you put your finger in, you dial it, and it goes round. You're in an emergency and you're trying to call 999. Wouldn't it easier to be 111?
111,
like the closest, rather than 9. 9. By then you're being shot in the head.
Yeah, probably. But hopefully that doesn't happen to you on this time change this weekend.
Maybe not. Hopefully.
And I hope everyone's having a good time. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves. I know there's sports going on. I think a baseball World Series happened, but no one is talking about it or
is that
cares.
Still going on? Who won?
I think it's over, but like the Rangers isn't a real team, so it doesn't count.
Baseball's not a real sport. Let's face it, guys.
As much as I can get into it, it's not the most exciting of sports. There's footy going on. There's football going on, but there's always time for wrestling. And wrestling will never, ever go away because there's always so much going on. But how you doing? You recovering from your week of Halloween?
I took it easy for a couple of days, which has been nice. Went to a place like in Midtown called Copacabana the other day.
That's where in Goodfellas? Isn't that where they go?
The name is it Barry Manilow loves no? Who is it that loves Copa? Yeah, it's Barry Manilow, isn't it?
Yeah, Copacabana.
But oh my word, this is like a Brazilian radicchio, and we gotta go, Braden. Like, I know last time we did kind of like a food challenge, you puked outside the CN Tower and Washington Center.
Oh yeah. Hooters all you can eat wings, bad idea.
bad idea. But oh my word, this is incredible. So you have 2 hours, and it's all you can eat. When we went, it was $75. Like 2 hours is plenty. It's enough.
Yeah.
Like and you have you can select like unlimited sides, and so we got some rice, we got some like roasted Brussels sprouts, had like a Caesar salad, a kale salad, this like beautiful pork belly, some mushrooms. There's like chimichurri. You can have like there's cornbread, and then it's just the servers are coming around with big skewers of meat and or trays of meat, and they just come up to your table and slice it away, and they'll be like, hey, we've got the filet mignon here, would you like to try this? Oh, we've got some sirloin that's been soaked in red wine for the last couple of days. We have they had this sirloin which was like stuffed with like cheese. It was so good.
Interesting.
And
all the vegetarians are loving this right now.
Yeah, they did have pineapple as well on the skewers, grilled pineapple.
I mean, there's that like vegan. Yeah, those vegans are going ham. Pardon the pun. With like turning pineapple and melons and things into like fake meat. That's a whole other TikTok world there. I
haven't really seen it much here, but I think it's dragon fruit back in the UK. Used a lot. But oh my word, it was $75 plus gratuity, so it was almost like just under $100 per head. But which sounds a lot, but if you think you go to a good steakhouse and you're paying $60 for a steakhouse,
I mean, you're paying minimum for a dinner these days. I mean, maybe for two people, but I mean, 100 for all you can eat and like really high end. I mean, I have been there before, like a long time ago. It's been so long, but
we got to do it. Maybe I believe at the moment they're doing Monday to Wednesdays for $80. It includes drinks as well.
All you can drink?
I think so. It might be insane. I imagine it's like house lager, house wine kind of thing.
They want you to fill up on that so you don't just keep eating all the meat.
But like we have a little trick. We have a little break. We go outside. We breathe in some
performance
fresh air, and we come back and we hulk up again. Like bring on the meat.
Performance enhancing drugs are a real thing when it comes to eating challenges.
What I found funny was the servers were quite pushy in a way, and like I think Brazilians are like some of the nicest people. Like I have a few Brazilian friends. Whenever I have Brazilians come into the bar, like they're always so friendly and happy, and these waiters were great. But clearly, like for a place like this to work, they don't want waste, so they want to like get through all the meat. So they kept coming over and being like, hey, more, and we're like, look, we just need to pause. And then the guy would just look at me and be like, do you really? Like holding this skewer to my face.
They want you to throw up.
Okay, I'll do it. It's like Max Caster just holding up the scissors after he's been knocked out. It's like, okay, give it to me.
It's like what is it? Monty Python? Like, no, I can't eat anymore. Would you like a mint? And it's like, that's what the last thing that just gets you to explode.
So I
did the Korean grill a few weeks ago and died.
Pig out before coming home and watching Dynamite and falling asleep before the main. I think that's something
you would definitely fall asleep after a night of meat.
Easily, 100%.
Yeah. I do enjoy Copacabana. It's like Young and Egg, right?
Yeah.
Shout out Copacabana. Shout out the Unicorn Pub as well. Shout out anyone listening to us here on Sunday. The YouTube chat. Some people are agreeing with us about baseball. Someone said in the States they dialed the equivalent of popcorn for the time, which is quite funny. But Frank is upset that we made fun of baseball, but then says we're eating all this meat, no bread, no water.
I had to turn down the cornbread. I was like, I'd rather get my fill of steak today than loading up on carbs.
Yeah. Well, you can load up on all the carbs you want. It's winter time. You gotta get in the hibernation, eat all the meat and all the. I've been eating a lot of soup this week actually because it's getting cold. I'm like, it's fall time. I'm still in my Halloween hangover. I'm enjoying not doing too much this week, but I know that the second I hang out with you, I've been staying at my girlfriend's this week, and the second I see you again, and the one drink, and then that turns into like another 3-day bender, and then I'm like, oh, there goes my sober November.
Well, we've got the gift for it now, which you beautifully provided us this Halloween, which I will be posting a lot. We've got this candid video of you. I think I'm talking to you like across a bar this Halloween. You look like at this point you're just dressed like a normal bloke, but blood all on your forehead.
Right. I'm still in we're still in our costumes, but it's like 1 a.m. ish at a bar. I think shout out the Artful Dodger in Toronto.
Artful Dodger, yeah.
And I think we're trying to have a conversation, but like I'm all the way at the other end of the bar.
You're at the other side of the bar. So I'm kind of talking to you about like, okay, so we'll record up next tomorrow, and then maybe have a little break. We'll watch what we need to watch for Was Next, and then record that probably around 5-ish. As I'm saying this, you were just blood on your forehead, are going like
covered in blood,
just putting your hand out like, yeah, and it's such a funny video. So I've gifted it now, and I'm going to be using this regularly, and definitely like just one drink tonight, just one drink. We'll take it easy.
Maybe, possibly. Yep. Yeah, it's a fantastic. You've already sent it to John in a way, out of context. Yes. It's very strange. Just my bloody face of like, yeah, it's good. My goal was to make sure that the wrestlers that we dressed up as saw photos, and I think I could be wrong, but I think the wrestlers have seen our photos, because we were somewhat trending with our tweets and our photos. So
wonderful.
Thanks everyone for all the Halloween love, but we killed it out there. If you haven't seen it already, again, follow the socials for our Shield photos.
And shout out Big Tom from Pure Fandom for providing us the extra bits. My WWE World Heavyweight title didn't come through on time, so he kind of pimped up the big gold belt to look like Seth's title. Provided our very own Roman Reigns with the red garlic
I don't know where he got that. Do WWE Shop even sell that thing? Like,
I don't know, man. Yeah, but it was great. We had Roderick Strong, we had Triple H in China, we had the Young Bucks, we had Rickhausen. It was a fun night, and if you haven't,
Becky Lynch,
check out Becky Lynch. Yeah, check out our socials.
Yeah. I kept finding stuff on my phone that I just kept uploading throughout the week. So if you're not following our Instagram, you're missing out, because I found a great video of you just doing the Seth Rollins like entrance with the
I kind of look like the Joker in it, because you see the city behind me, and it just looks like I'm about to burn it to the ground.
Yeah. Seth Rollins Joker, that's what you were.
Yeah.
So now we got to think about next year. What's our costume next year? Do we do more wrestling group?
Stuff? I think next year's Halloween's going to be even bigger because it falls on a Thursday. So I think that Thursday, Friday, Saturday are going to be mental. Tuesday, people don't. Tuesday's the softest night of the week. We still found where to have fun on a Tuesday. Places were still doing stuff, but obviously a lot of people with kind of normal jobs have worked the next day. Whereas I think especially this post-pandemic world where people are doing like the hybrid, like work from home a few days a week, they often work from home on a Friday. I think that Thursday is going to be pretty mental next year. So, maybe I'll take the Friday off as well, or the Saturday, and we can do a couple of costumes next year.
Yeah, I'd like to double up on some different ones. I got to retire my Space Cowboy outfit. I got a rip in the crotch.
You can get that mended.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, let's do a bit of housekeeping before we go into this week's news in pro wrestling.
Yes.
We recorded an episode of Up Next on Wednesday talking about night 2 of Halloween Havoc. You can go and listen to that for free on the Post Wrestling feed. And we will also be going, you and I think Sino will be going live on Wednesday, correct? With next week's up next.
Yeah, we I know we just went live on a Wednesday. We took Tuesday night off, but we want to take it. Well, you want to take a Tuesday off, and I was like, you know what? I will give you that Tuesday night off, but I'm gonna take off the Tuesday too because I'm gonna take the girlfriend out for doing such a good job on my Halloween costume. So.
Nice.
So we're both off Tuesday, but Wednesday during the day, I think at 1 p.m. Eastern time, me and Sino will be hitting you with a brand new Up Next. So come hang out on the Post Wrestling YouTube feed, 1 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday instead of the Tuesday night. So the audio will be out right after that on the Wednesday as me and Sino Evil talk a bit about some NXT and everything else going on. He did just do an episode of What Up Doe with B Detroit just about a week or so ago on this very feed. So go listen to that if you haven't already. They definitely made me jealous of not having a PS5 and the new Spider-Man 2 game because I've tried the Spider-Man for the PS4, and that game definitely is amazing, deserves all the respect it gets. But the new one is looking insane, and I have so many friends playing it, and I'm not much of a gamer, but like it does look pretty good, and definitely nerding out about some of the stuff in it. So check out that show with those guys. Sino joining me on Up Next this Wednesday. If you like free shows, though, while on the topic, on this very feed, of course, Sino fills you in on Shot in the Dark, covering everything in the world of wrestling. And I cannot wait for next week's episode of Shot in the Dark because there is a new character on WoW, Women of Wrestling, that I already can tell you is the best gimmick in wrestling going. And when Sino finally watches it and talks about it on Thursday, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say in 15 minutes or less. So spoilers, it's a dog show gimmick.
Okay.
I think I'm not really sure, but I'll tell you, I love it. So looking forward to his thoughts on that.
As in, running through the little mazes and over
like a Westminster, like a Westminster dog show lady who's like, I'm best in show, and she wears like gold, and I'm blanking on her name. I think her name is Goldie Collins. They took two different dog names and put them together. Oh my god, dude! I was watching this at work the other day. It was good. It aired last night on CH, so definitely love the dog lady gimmick. Like we have the bird lady on NXT, but now WoW has the dog lady, which definitely is hilarious. So check that out. And on this very free feed as well, next week we have our second episode of Eagles Don't Hunt Flies.
Yes, we do. And this time it'll be Dickie Bird, Martin Bushby, and Brandon from New Jersey talking about the ill-fated Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose feud from WrestleMania 32. A match that could have been something pretty special and turned out being kind of complete dog shit. So I know they'll be talking all about this. It's going to be quite interesting. Mox has been pretty open about his dislike of this feud and working with Lesnar. I'm sure they'll maybe dive into that Steve Austin podcast he was on and stuff from his book. But yeah, this is the John Moxley mixtape, or the Mox tape, if you will, where every month they look at a different rivalry in the career of John Moxley / Dean Ambrose. Loved episode 1 where they talked all about Mox versus Nick Gage. Really looking forward to seeing this one, because this was a match I was actually at. I actually saw in person. So
right, and you were as disappointed as everyone watching.
Absolutely. So looking forward to seeing, to hearing their reactions on this one.
Definitely was one of the biggest matches that, like, now looking back, even it's like, man, that sucked. And I'm just a fan, but I blame Brock Lesnar for that one. I think he sounded like he didn't want to do shit with whatever that was given. I think the best thing to come out of that was Terry Funk, and when he gave Mox the chainsaw that was not used in the match whatsoever. But
I mean, the best part might have been the Steve Austin interview coming out of it. Which is a fascinating watch.
Absolutely. I know the Eagles Don't Hunt Flies guys appreciated my costume. It was dedicated to them. For them. So check out that show. I think you said next Friday on this very feed.
Yes, next Friday.
Excellent. So look forward.
We should
to
update their logo. Just have you instead of the skeleton.
You say that. I bet you Dickie's already done that.
Oh no, yeah.
Because I loved what it was. B Detroit. Shout out B, who did the Photoshop really quickly. Like we're at this house party. And we take these photos, and I shared them. And within like under 5 minutes, B had already photoshopped me on the cover of some like Japanese pro wrestling magazine, which I've totally now used. So shout out B with this fast photo. And then I was showing people, and they're like, "Oh my god, what is that real?" I'm like, "No, I just took that photo. How could it be?" But it was good. Shout out B, and shout out Eagles Don't Hunt Flies. That's coming out Friday over on this Poisonrana feed, so hit that subscribe if you haven't already. And hey, if you like some other podcasts, well, check out the Poisonrana Patreon, because Davie and I, we work endlessly. We spend so many hours reviewing wrestling and movies and everything in between to bring you our strange form of entertainment. And this past month with October, we did so many shows of some spooky stuff. Friday the 13th, part 3, Halloween 6 on this feed, Antichrist, which was insane, and so many other shows, including our Halloween Havoc 98 review. But November schedule is now dropping, and I can tell you that this month is looking like a pretty stacked month of shows, because with the whole talk of TNA being back, it brings us to a great reason to look back at some TNA and maybe find out why people love it so much. So we're putting it to you. I think the poll is still open on the Facebook group, Poisonrana. Join it if you haven't. We've put up a suggestion of different TNA pay-per-views, and whichever one gets the most votes by, like, I don't know, in a few days, we'll review it over on our Patreon.
Yeah, I think we'll announce it if you guys want to announce it on Wednesdays up next, maybe. So you've got a few days to cast your votes. I can say the ones on the poll are Turning Point 2005, which features Jeff Jarrett versus Rhino, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, America's Most Wanted versus Team 3D in a tables match, and Sabu versus Abyss in a barbed wire massacre match. Against All Odds 06, which features Jarrett versus Christian Cage, Team 3D versus Team Canada, and I believe this is the rematch of Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and AJ Styles. TNA Sacrifice 2007, which features Christian Cage versus Sting versus Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles. Bound for Glory 07, featuring Kurt Angle versus Sting, Samoa Joe versus Christian Cage, and Jay Lethal versus Christopher Daniels. And Destination X 2012, featuring Bobby Roode versus Austin Aries, a big Ultimate X match, and Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles in a last man standing match, as well as Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. So some good stuff there. I can tell you Turning Point 05 is in the lead right now, but you still have some time to cast your votes.
05, I remember I was watching at the time. I got into TNA, I think around like 04, 05, and then was definitely when the Spike TV deal definitely helped them a lot, because they were actually on TV, even if it was at weird hours. But definitely looking forward to talking about any of those TNA shows, because we've definitely covered a few on our Patreon, but it's always interesting because look at where all like the stars of those shows are today. Still, some of them still wrestling and still being talked about. So quite interesting, and will be a lot of fun. So get your votes in. And hey, while you're at it, you can also go and vote for which Survivor Series show we're going to review this month. We decided, with Survivor Series being in a few weeks, that we would look at a retro one, and there's a bunch of different options up on there as well. So go check that out. And there's a big movie review coming, Davey. I think you need to announce this one, because we've been asked, hey, you should review this movie quite a bunch. Then we did it, but that was only the first one, and there are two more.
Yes.
Please explain.
We reviewed last year with Emmanuel, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. And now this December marks the 20th anniversary of the release of Return of the King. So we're going to do a double header up yours, starting this month with The Two Towers, where we'll be joined by Emmanuel once again. And then next month, to coincide with the anniversary of Return of the King, we'll be joined by Kevin Hudson from the Geek-Centric podcast to talk all about the finale. And I'm sure we can get Emmanuel's thoughts on it as well, as he kind of spearheaded this whole thing. But these are my favorite movies of all time, and can't wait to dive back into Middle-earth.
Yeah, so all you hobbitses out there who are looking to hear our Lord of the Ring reviews, so Two Towers coming out in November and Return of the King review coming out in December. So some shows to look forward there. But for the other opposite end of the spectrum there, we have a Up Yours pick that I think is confirmed. I just messaged our world champ, our family member Brent, but I've asked him twice now, are you sure you want to pick this? And he has said yes. And depending if he replies, we're doing it this week. This is also a movie that I think a lot of people have asked us to review. And may I add, a movie I may know every single line in. Superbad.
Yeah. Look, if Lord of the Rings is my favorite movies of all time, this is my favorite comedy of all time.
Yes, this is the best.
So
we're born around the same age. We're around the same age, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners out there, even if you weren't, Superbad definitely holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts. So we're going to review it, which I don't know how I feel about, because it's a comedy, and me and you are usually we bring the comedy. So when we review a comedy, it's kind of like repeating the jokes, but
maybe
I'm sure
we
could muster out some
kind
stories.
Of been doing this podcasting for a while now. We might be a little better now. And try to get away from just telling the jokes that we see on screen, but dive into it a little deeper. And we've all been nerdy teenagers looking to get laid at some point in our lives, so I'm sure some of us still are as well. So I can't wait to have this review, and it's always a pleasure chatting with Brent from his farm over there in Calgary.
I'm sure Brent the farmer's got some crazy high school stories, which I'm pretty sure the show is going to turn into.
I don't know why he picked this or I
think he just loves it.
It's normally something like, I found this on VHS about 10 years after it was released. And then
last time he picked Tombstone. I don't know how we got from Western Tombstone to Superbad, but I'm excited. So we'll talk about McLovin and everyone's favorite comedy from the 2000s. So, which I think, it's a good time. It's in its 25th anniversary this year, I think.
Wow.
Something like that, isn't it?
No, no. It's 2005 or 06, I think. So
yeah. Well, we'll get the feedback up later today, because I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm predicting some people write in some feedback for this movie. So 2007, that's crazy. I remember seeing it in theaters. First day came out, I was there. Awesome. in my cargo shorts, and then there's a joke about no one's gotten laid wearing cargo shorts since Nom, which I laughed very loud at. So 16 years ago. Wow, that's crazy. That movie came out. So Superbad. Can't wait to listen back to the soundtrack as well. So some crazy shows coming out over on our Patreon. So we got a TNA show, Survivor Series, Lord of the Rings. And then we just recorded a Was Next that I haven't put up yet, which I'm going to put out later today for all you patrons, where we're talking about the February 12th, I think, edition, 2014 edition of NXT, which is leading up to the NXT Arrival show, which we've never, ever talked about, me and you, on any shows. So definitely looking forward to, I think by the time we get to that show, will be December. So some big Patreon shows coming up.
Yeah, next will be the Go Home show, and then we'll be talking about Arrival. So I think our aim is to fit all of this in before the end of the year, so we can start. I assume the roar of the crowd will kick things off in January. Yeah, so a whole new era of NXT with a whole new year, new me.
So check us out on Patreon. It's how we pay the bills. It's only $5 a month to sign up to become a friend, and you get access to all these shows that we do. Lots and lots of wrestling, lots and lots of movies, lots and lots of fun. And last final thing, November 25th, you Toronto wrestling peeps, get your tickets now. Come hang out with us for our Survivor Series watch party downtown, King Street West, Gabby's. get the wings. They're really good. And hang out as we watch some wrestling, and Poisonrana.ca for the link to our Eventbrite on that. And we would love to see some of our listeners out there, some new friends, some old, all in between.
Yeah, we want to see as many of you as possible at this event. We loved the last watch party we did back in April for WrestleMania. Let's make this one as big as possible. Come along. Tickets are available. There are early bird tickets for just $5 available right now. So snap them up while you can. Let's pack this bar with some wrestling friends, watch some wrestling, and maybe or maybe not a returning CM Punk. Who knows?
This is true. Yeah, we could all be watching and witnessing history from Gabby's. Yeah. And while we're on the subject of Toronto, I want to say rest in peace to Toronto indie wrestling legend Rob Rage. Now, he might not be a name that most people maybe south of the border of Toronto may recognize, but this guy's been wrestling for as long as I've been going to indie shows as a young kid in Toronto, and I saw a bunch of local wrestling people post about this. So I definitely want to give my respect to Rob Rage. He was someone that like everyone in the Toronto scene would have wrestled or be cross path. I'm pretty sure even you have actually seen him wrestle live, Davey, in the past few years.
Was he the guy that got his dick out?
No, that was Sexy Eddie.
Oh, okay.
Sexy Eddie and Rob Rage, definitely different people, but yeah. RIP.
Both have porn star names, but
Rob Rage definitely does have a porn star name. Yeah. He was a big fucking jack dude, so he would appreciate that for sure. Rest in peace. But let's talk about some wrestling. Smoke them if you got them, because let's talk about everything that's going on, because there is always a lot of wrestling. Wrestling never sleeps.
Yeah, well, let's start things off with WWE, because they had a premium live event yesterday from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel. Did you get a chance to watch this, Braden?
Yeah. Yeah, I called this Crown Royal, because I forgot what it was actually called. Crown Jewel, a.k.a. the Saudi show that we pretend we don't know anything else that's going on outside the world when I'm just watching a wrestling event happening in Saudi Arabia. But you know what? It's crazy watching the crowd and the reactions these superstars get. I'm not sure if you saw this video where LA Knight, the day before the event, was talking to these like fans and this little kid. It was just like so heart-wrenching that like these people are like, we welcome in on our TV screens week by week. And I know there's people's opinions on the Saudi shows, and I'm definitely in agreement with some of the things, but at the end of the day, it's still an entertainment show, and they're entertaining the masses worldwide. And like, I can't help but smile when I see a bunch of people freaking out the way I react when I go to these shows, when they come over to my city. So again, that's just kind of, I'm not saying I've gotten over it, but definitely in the last little while, I'm like, all right,
it's definitely moved on from like, just the royals sitting in the front row on their phones, not watching it. Like it's clear these fans are very invested in the product and know what's going on. There's whole lot other conversations about, where this money's coming from and with WWE in that sense. But I'm happy seeing, actual fans enjoying watching wrestling, because everyone should be able to enjoy what they love. But I did notice, I felt there was way more kind of propaganda on this show than there have been for the last few.
Not as bad as like how they did in the first few ones, right? Those ones.
There was quite a lot on like more so than, because they definitely, after the kind of the Khashoggi murder, they really just did nothing. I mean, they weren't even mentioning Saudi Arabia on TV, were they? They were just this international show. Whereas this one, there was a lot of just talking about how great this city is. It might have been LA Knight. Someone said something like, I don't feel as comfortable anywhere on earth as I do in Saudi Arabia. It's like,
was that really? Vince McMahon who said that?
I don't know. It was a bizarre quote, but I did notice a lot more of that on this show. But that aside, I thought this was a really strong premium live event, and it's kind of nice watching a show in the afternoon. Sort of, I was sat down to watch this at 1 p.m. It finished about an hour before I had to go to work, so just got ready and fit in a whole day of wrestling. But shall we just go through it match by match? I think there's some we'll probably spend a bit more time on than others, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The kickoff match, Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. Sami with just a huge reaction from this crowd. Surprised they put this on the kickoff show. I would have thought you'd have put this on the actual main show with Sami Zayn being like such a like draw over there. But this was all right. I didn't think they really gave JD McDonough anything, and we've seen him from his NXT and NXT UK days what McDonough's capable of, and he has shown it on Raw. But this was just really Sami kind of steamrolling the guy. But good way to kind of get the crowd going before the opening match.
Yeah, you imagine they got hopefully some bigger plans for Sami Zayn, especially with his whole like his thing on Raw lately, where he's kind of having this crusade of like, I'm gonna be champion one day. And definitely with Triple H in charge, you would imagine that does eventually happen. I think there is a better match between these two out there, but that what really wasn't this. JD McDonough for some reason was selling like Shawn Michaels in SummerSlam 05.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Like takes really a head bump on the turnbuckle and does like an inverted flip.
He did like the Commander inverted 450 Phoenix splash from a turnbuckle spot, which was very weird. But yeah, this was okay. But the crowd definitely were so behind Sami Zayn, which is nice to see.
And then we kicked off the main show with Seth Rollins versus Drew for the World Heavyweight Championship. And they went about just short of 20 minutes here. And I thought this was a really strong match. I've enjoyed the story they've been telling with Drew. I thought this week, the video package of him kind of sitting in the empty performance center and talking about like, how he won the title, but it wasn't the way he wanted it. And then Seth just cutting him down like, boo-hoo, you didn't win the championship the way you wanted. Other people were fucking dying and struggling to make ends meet, and you won the title in front of nobody. Get over it. I think this story's been pretty strong with these two characters, and I thought they created quite a good match here with some good kind of near falls. You had the Priest tease at the end with the cash in with Sami taking him out, but I think this was probably the straw that now breaks the camel's back with Drew, and he goes full heel moving forwards, and perhaps maybe a rematch at Survivor Series with Drew maybe a bit more defined as a heel.
Yeah, I'm worried if they do pull the trigger on Drew being an actual heel that would cause him to win the title. Like that would be how he does get it. Whether you do the Priest cash in or something down the line, that's definitely. I love the tease of it. I loved how Sami is just like, nah, you're not doing that. Screw you. I hate you guys, so I'm still angry, and that definitely got a huge reaction when he came out there. But Seth and Drew was decent. Yeah, I thought it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Drew is definitely someone who can be like hit or miss when it comes to some of the big matches. But I thought this was one of the better matches on this show, and I thought there was some big near falls with the Claymore, right, where he hit that. But overall, I saw Seth retaining, and I'm kind of happy he does. And I would hope he retains all the way to like Mania or someone else for a bigger program. But again, with Priest, I assume we do get some sort of cash in sooner than later.
I kind of think Seth's title run maybe hinges on whether a Phil Brooks comes into the company or not. Because I think if Punk isn't going to be around for Mania, I think Seth is the champion and probably is facing Gunther. Is my guess. Yeah. But I think if Punk comes in, I think you can have Seth drop to either Drew or Priest and have, Sami chase for that title at Mania and do Seth versus Punk non-title at Mania. Because that match doesn't need a championship involved, in my opinion. So I maybe think the kind of Punk factor could play with which way we go with Seth. But if he's not coming in, I totally see Seth retaining until Mania.
Yeah, me too. But I like this a lot more than I thought I was, and that's definitely a credit to Drew. Or Seth.
Yeah, I think this was my match of the night, to be honest, and really kicked off the show in a good way. We also had the women's 5-way for Rhea's women's championship. Is hers the Hers is the women's world title,
Yeah.
I think, not whatever it's called.
Hers is like Seth's, right? Yeah.
It's like Seth. So it was Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax versus Zoe Stark versus Shayna Baszler versus Raquel Rodriguez. I'm so glad they've, updated these women's costumes for Saudi because they look great. Like, obviously the women over there have to kind of cover up, but it doesn't look like they're all going on a charity run anymore in big baggy t-shirts. Like, it's the attire looked way better. But
specifically
sorry,
the later match with Io, Bianca, Bailey, all of them looked like the outfits were even more stellar. I didn't really care about this match. Definitely was on my phone watching this one, but I did love the spot that everyone's going crazy about with the cameraman, where Zoe jumps over and it's basically she clears him and he I think falls down to get the shot, but he was so committed to make sure he got this crossbody shot that I was like, yo, good for you, dude. Get a raise.
I think Zoe's someone who's had a really good call up, actually. The partnership with Trish, I think, really helped her. I think she's been having some of the stronger women's matches on TV, and I would like to see her kind of move up the roster a bit because I'm a fan of her wrestling as well. Raquel really hasn't hit it at all for me since moving up to the main roster. I can't say I'm overly excited about Nia Jax being back. And I think stuff with Shayna is a bit too little too late. I think when she came in, you could have really positioned her as this absolute killer. And they're just trying it now. Triple H has taken over. They're trying to rekindle that, but it's too late for me. So it was obvious Rhea Ripley was not going to lose this title. And I thought it was a okay match, but something we could see on Raw or SmackDown every week, I think.
Yeah. Neither of the none of the challengers made sense or made it seem believable. But I did like Rhea's entrance where she got it looked like they were just a bunch of Saudi princes standing there and honoring her as she came out kind of thing. So it kind of a cool
It was cool, but didn't really flow together. It was all this sort of Saudi music and then this is my brutality. It just didn't really fit. But
I think she was screw you, men kind of thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
Kind of vibe. I don't know. But yeah.
And then we move on to John Cena taking on Solo Sikoa. And I thought this was probably one of Cena's better matches since any of his comeback matches in the last couple of years.
But is that saying much? Man,
no,
he's not the same.
No, he's not the same. But I thought he put a bit more of a performance in this one than we've seen in the Austin Theory matches or the tag matches where he does nothing. But he's really look, Cena's never been the prettiest wrestler in the world. But I think now his body is kind of, slowing down and stuff.
Yeah.
He's not the same. His star power is huge. And I think kind of as Triple H said in that press conference, it's hey, we don't know how many Cena appearances we're going to get. So take it when you can get it. But really solidly putting over Solo Sikoa here with about 10 Samoan spikes.
Yeah, it's
15
of them or something. This is crazy. Just kept spiking them. No Paul Heyman, no bloodline, just Solo v Cena, and he beat him clean.
He beat him clean. And they kind of said he ended Cena's career, but this wasn't they didn't have that as a stipulation.
Well, They didn't have it as a stipulation, but they definitely kept alluding to that. Hey, if Cena loses this, if Cena gets 15 Samoan spikes to the throat, he might have to go back to Hollywood. The strike might end. So, But then Cena posting the photo of Beckham after, where Beckham was playing his last game.
Okay.
He posted, Cena's Instagram is all kind of
cryptic,
and all that shit. But he posted a photo right after the match, where it's a photo of Beckham from his last game or whatever. So people are definitely he's alluding to that. So I mean, the next time he comes back, it'll be even bigger.
Yeah,
I draw, but
don't see this being Cena's retirement match. I think they'd have made it way more obvious, and I think you'd reserve that for a WrestleMania to go out against a Baron Corbin.
Shut up. You too bad it wouldn't be like a Kurt or something, but like Cena definitely, when they eventually bring him back, it looks like the strikes might end soon. So that definitely Cena's been tipped off. Cena has been keeping his eye on the news, because this weekend they had been some chatter about how, that might be coming to an end soon. And there are now celebrities in and out of there's ways they've been maneuvering, and I'm sure Cena's going right back to making movies featuring him playing a husband who's got a wife, and then they meet another husband and wife, and then they go on a vacation, and then something happens. And that seems like every movie he's made in the last little while. I know that there's Vacation Friends 1 and 2, but he has a new movie that I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, is this the same series? I don't know. Oh, it's a different movie. Oh, okay. All right. Not been a big fan of his movies thus far, but I think he's still waiting for that one big role that he had Peacemaker, which I actually never checked out. So who am I?
Yeah, he's good. I think he'll be fine.
I'm sure he'll be fine. Yeah. But you're right. He's bigger than he ever has been, but his wrestling is definitely like, I notice now, I'm definitely like, oh, you are definitely not the same Cena you were. I mean, cool, he's still hitting top rope cross bodies, but he's toned down. He just gets beat up for like 20 minutes in this match. So,
but they're like, Solo is someone they're clearly positioning down the line, and I mean, I think we all assume it's Cody finishing the story, but if Roman continues this reign, they do say later in the night it's only Hogan and Bruno ahead of him now. Like, I don't think it's crazy to consider Solo down the line as being someone to dethrone Roman, or whether it's like non-title, just taking the role of head of the table or whatever. But I think they see big things for him because they've had him very protected, and now beating Cena as well.
Beating Cena definitely makes him strong, makes the Samoan Spike strong. I would figure putting him in like another title picture to have him with Roman both holding titles, but I don't know if that's where we'll go, considering where some of the other titles are kind of tied up right now. But yeah, this made Solo instantly. Like, it's crazy. Only like a year ago he debuted, and before that we were watching him on NXT wrestle like a lot of nobodies, and here he is beating John Cena in Saudi Arabia, like clean as a whistle. Pretty crazy.
Then we had Logan Paul riding through the desert on his way to his championship match.
Yeah, this guy's great.
Rey Mysterio. Yeah,
I love Logan Paul now. Like, I don't, but I do. In the world of wrestling, I love this guy. He's so easy to hate and to like get invested in, and so entertaining. The entrance in the sand dunes, the sand buggy, his Maverick gear, making his entrance, and it looked like they could have fooled me, but it looked like he was driving that thing in the one where he's like swerves into the parking lot. I swear that was him driving it. Like,
you know what? This guy picks up things pretty quickly, so I wouldn't put it past him him driving this buggy.
Yeah,
here,
but I mean, this was look, we just had John Cena wrestling. We have Roman Reigns wrestling later on, but like, this was the match that got so many eyes and ears on because of Logan Paul and his boxing fight a few weeks ago, promoting this out of nowhere, calling for this match, and instantly getting like so much attention back onto WWE. And it's like, wait, this guy's a wrestler? It's like, oh yeah, a year ago this event he was wrestling Roman and kind of stole the show and impressed so many people. And watching that last year, I was like, oh, this guy will be champion by next year. I wasn't sure what title I was talking about, but I, in a weird way, was right, because as soon as he promoted this match against Rey Mysterio, you knew he was taking this United States title.
Yeah, I mean, it's the US title. I'd say it's the lowest men's singles title on the main roster.
Sure.
So absolutely, why not put it on Logan Paul? He's going to make more of this title than it will with some other people there. He can have it on the set of his podcast. He can, next boxing fight, he will probably be wearing this thing if there's one down the line. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. This guy continues to impress me. I don't think he looks out of place. I don't think he looks like a celebrity trying to wrestle at all.
No.
And he's in there against one of the best. What I loved was, so he wins with the brass knucks, right? And with the punch to the face of Rey, and then wins him. And then after the match, he's like, goes to Ray and he's like,
I love you, Ray.
Hey man, I love you. I
love
respect you so much. Thank you. That was a great match. And it's like, dude, you cheated. But
no, Ray, that's what Ray says to him. Ray's like, yo, what the fuck? No, you punched me in the face with Nux. Get the fuck out of here.
Love it. I thought that was so good and just makes him so much like he's just playing this like fake respect thing.
He's really easy to hate, like to boo, and that's, I mean, it's wrestling, right? Like we need that in wrestling, and he's learned how to pick that up very, very quickly. Not only the wrestling, this guy was doing all the elite moves. You know, he was doing the buckshot for like a year now, right?
Yeah,
that's been his move ever since Punk and Hangman. He's been doing the buckshot, but in this match, he did the you can't escape. He did the buckshot like twice. He did the He did another elite move. Oh, the Hangman power slam moonsault. He did that. He did the lion salt as well. Like he's doing all these AEW moves. He's very smart, or whoever he's got in his camp telling him like, yo, do this. Trust me, people will talk about it. Like he was doing all their moves. Also shout out Logan Paul. Now I'm not sure really what happened. I've watched the clip like a million times, but Rey Mysterio goes for that moonsault into the tornado DDT, which is supposed to get countered, but either Logan wasn't too close enough yet, or Rey would just like undershot it, and Rey Mysterio almost lands on his damn head. The commentary team, Michael Cole, is like, yo, like he almost landed in a tombstone, but Logan Paul was able to catch him and like almost stop himself from doing that. And this clip has been shared like everywhere, but like really, this guy's been only doing this for like a year, and he's having like veteran instincts and stuff. Like pretty crazy. Again, like I know he was supposed to come into the catch of the moonsault, and it could have been he wasn't there yet, but he still managed to not only save Rey Mysterio from like landing on his neck, but still managed to save the spot and made it look good. So pretty incredible. Like he's not a small guy, Logan Paul, and fighting Rey Mysterio, like who is the smallest dude to ever do it. It was pretty, like there was some good spots back and forth. And again, it had a lot of people talking about it, and every like non-wrestling social media things that I follow, they were all sharing this yesterday and today. So like they got what they wanted out of this, because like your world stars and your all that shit, they all were posting clips from this match and the promo after where he's like, I'm the best and all this shit. So I think this was a big win for WWE.
He's definitely earned my respect over the last year or so. And also, as you say, like it being shared and other people seeing it. We had wrestling on at work the other day, and these people were watching, and I think it was like the weigh-in or whatever it was. It was a segment with him and Ray. They were going, wait, is that Logan Paul? It's like, yeah. He's in WWE. It's like, yeah, he's pretty good. And they're like, oh shit, okay. Didn't he fight last week as well? Yeah. So he's definitely won me over. I see probably LA Knight being a logical contender for him, like Megastar versus Megastar. It kind of
for what Mania?
Yeah, Mania or Rumble or something like that. I think they're gonna want to. We'll get obviously to the LA Knight match, but I think they're gonna want to keep him hot, and I think a feud with Logan Paul could be great. Like the verbal back and forth, I think would be awesome. And I think they both have that sort of similar kind of character, like, you know, showbiz, Hollywood, like megastar kind of thing. I think that could be a direction.
Yeah, I'm wondering though if that is like soon, or because the real question we'll talk about is what do you do with LA Knight? And it's like if you put him against Logan Paul, I'd imagine you'd have him win. So you wouldn't want to have Logan Paul lose this title anytime soon, possibly all the way up into WrestleMania. So like I know there's going to be different pay-per-views like your Survivor Series and your Rumbles and stuff, but I'm imagining Logan Paul is in a pretty big marquee WrestleMania match, and that's kind of the big question. Like is it John Cena in that match? Is it Brock Lesnar in that match? You know, like there's a few like big names that you could easily make that the match that gets a lot of people's attention, because they know this guy promotes it and it will be everywhere, and when it happens it will be spread like wildfire everywhere. So you'd probably want to keep like how they had Rey Mysterio specifically for this, keep like some bigger marquee names in the big PLE matches for him, and having him beat like someone like I don't know why I said Brock, but like that would instantly get people being like, yo, what would happen if that match happened? And if he were to beat Brock, that would be pretty crazy in the eyes of some fans. So yeah, again, was never a fan of this guy before seeing him in WWE, and now I'm like, you are doing everything right in the world of this stuff. So the PC and Sean and Triple H and whoever else Logan Paul's got in his camp are doing a really good job because it's working.
Realistically as well, Logan Paul might only have 2 or 3 defenses until WrestleMania. It's not.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot you have to do. And I don't think it matters if the US title isn't on TV every week. It's the US
Sure.
title.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be on TV whenever he's on, other things.
Yeah.
And drinking his prime with Austin Matthews, I think, who's now his first Canadian athlete signed.
That's
or
the first
opponent.
I
don't know.
Is it? Austin
imagine that match. Austin Matthews versus Logan Paul.
At the Scotiabank, yeah.
The bank. Book it.
Yeah. I mean, Leaf's season will probably be over by Mania anyway. So, well, it will.
Oh, yeah, it's already over.
We go to our next match. Io Shirai versus Bianca Belair. Sorry, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. And boy, was I smiling by the end of this one.
Oh, you and me too, brother. I didn't want to message you about it because I wasn't sure if we were watching it the same. I was watching on delay, so I didn't want to be spoiled and vice versa. So Io, first of all, Io's gear was incredible, but Bianca too, but Io's gear was it looked like that store we went to in London, in Camden, Cyber World.
Yeah.
This looks like that's straight from the racks of that place,
her pants kind of reminded me of the
Hardy Boys.
Too Cool. Remember
Too
the
cool. That's clearly why I love them
pants?
so much.
Yeah,
they looked sick. They looked pretty badass. This match was pretty good. Yeah. It again didn't get to the level of I know Io and Bianca could get to. We know these two are the best women, some of the best, if not maybe my 2 favorites in WWE right now, and definitely felt like they were holding back.
They didn't want to. I think their Puerto Rico match was probably better than this one. But
possibly. Not saying that this was actually bad by any means, because there was some good stuff in it, but was definitely I know you two could kill each other. I mean, think back, we were at TakeOver New York. These two were featured in that 4-way match, were they not? Yeah, and they had some crazy stuff in that match going back. So they have history, they know each other. But the real story coming out of it is Bayley and her disco pants. She comes out and she's basically interfering here when, wait a second, out comes Kairi Sane, returning to WWE and helps Io win this thing, and then for good measure hits her insane elbow,
which just looks deadly. Kairi is so tiny, but I think makes the elbow drop, where so many times you watch the elbow drop and it just looks so safe. Okay, you're jumping off the top rope, but she just looks like she's killing them.
Yeah.
So
and here we have it. The return, they're reunited. Our favorite tag team in the world of professional wrestling, the Sky Pirates.
The Sky Pirates.
Which she's looking a little not piratey. She's looking very cyber. I said Io looked like she went shopping at Cyber World in Camden, this store, but it looks like Kairi went there too. So is this Skyberpunk their new name or something?
I thought she looked way more heelish as well than she did last time she was in the company and playing a heel. I thought she looked great. I love something I'm really enjoying, and I know I've been singing its praises quite a bit recently, is WWE, acknowledging the past, acknowledging their previous stories, and Michael Cole, which I'd forgotten about, but drilling home, Bayley was the one that took out Kairi and kind of wrote her out of the company. So now we know there's tension between Io and Bayley. Is Io and Kairi gonna kick Bayley out the group, or they're starting their own group? There have been reports of other members potentially joining Kairi and Io. So let's let the speculation begin.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to dabble in some speculation of you could bring in Asuka, so you have the Kabuki Sky Pirates, which we've been kind of joking about for months now. This could be an actual thing that happens. Or there's talks of Saray possibly coming back into WWE. I know she was never on WWE main roster, but she was someone that definitely in glimmers in NXT impressed. You could bring her in. You could have King Coda, Dakota Kai,
yeah.
like turn on Bailey and join to have make that the kind of trios there. But the real story is Kairi and Io being back together on main WWE TV with the WWE Women's Championship. Like, this is everything I've ever wanted in wrestling. Like, these two being back together. I know if you're listening to podcast, you can't really tell, and I know we're on video, but like our whole living room is full of Io, Sky, and Kairi all over it. So like we are huge fans of these two, and like can't wait for them to get over in new eyes of like new fans and stuff. So very interested in Kairi coming back. They're trying to make her a heel, but like she's Kairi. She's a baby.
I mean, I think eventually, like this stable, whatever they're building, you start them off this way. I assume, which seems a bit odd, but maybe Bailey is going to be the baby face in this thing if they're opposing her. I wonder, you could also have like Nakamura join potentially. Like he's kind of reinvented himself a little bit recently. He had the Seth and Ricochet feud. That's something we've got mixed stables now. Judgment Day is obviously killing it.
Right.
Like,
okay.
I feel that could make him a little bit more relevant than he has been if you join that. But you know, Kairi, by all reports, she's been signed for quite a while. They've just been waiting for the right moment, I guess. And yeah, I'm excited. I think, you know, with Triple H in charge, him being a massive fan of both Io and Kairi, I'm just really, really excited to see where this thing goes moving forward.
Yeah, can't wait, because then it'll eventually they'll be teaming together, Io and Kairi, which definitely got to see them live again. Instantly has my attention. But when we then get to the eventual Kairi versus Io in WWE, like that shit will blow our minds. Because if you have never seen these two wrestle each other, oh my god, watch it. Go find
like
it.
That should be a WrestleMania match. I feel it's maybe too soon if you just put these two together to have it.
I'm talking like 2 years.
I'd love to see these two just, you know, get given, you know, 18, 20 minutes on a WrestleMania, because it would be spectacular.
I mean, Io, we know, is the hometown hero in Puerto Rico and everywhere. I didn't think Kairi got like crazy reaction she would have gotten if this show was like somewhere else, possibly. Yeah. Because, you know, it's in Saudi. They can't cheer for women, obviously, right? Like, that's just how it goes. No. But I think if this were to have happened somewhere else, I think maybe it would have been a different reaction. But who's to say with them, you know, announcing Bash in Berlin or doing shows all over the world, that we don't get an announcement of some sort of PLE in Japan sooner than later? Because I'm really shocked they haven't done one recently, and even more shocked AEW hasn't jumped over there as well. But those two would headline that, no problem.
Then we move forward. We have Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest in Let's Keep Cody Busy Until He Finishes the Story match. But this was good. I like Priest a lot, and I'm kind of looking forward to if and when he eventually does cash in, because I think that the match with Bad Bunny earlier in the year definitely elevated him in a lot of people's eyes, and he looks the part. Judgment Day are one of the most popular factions at the moment. They're playing mostly with him about putting doubt in his head, where you could see him potentially leaving the group at one point. But now you've got the two titles. I definitely see a world title run down the line with him. But yeah, I thought these two had a pretty fun match.
Yeah, it was probably one of the shorter ones on the show, with Cody beating him with like three of the. I like his super finisher, the 3 crossroads.
3 in a row.
It's become his kind of thing. But I like Priest. I've been following him for so long. I can't wait till he is given the title. I'm sure he'll have a little run with it. I can't see him cashing in and not getting the title. Like a failed cash-in attempt would be pretty lame. So I like him, and there's definitely a lot more stories to tell with him down the line with him and Judgment Day. But Cody, what's he going to be doing until, like, are we going back to the Rumble? Is he going to be feuding with these guys?
I imagine
again?
he'll
like,
be that they confirmed War Games is happening at Survivor Series, didn't they? I assume he'll be in a War Games team. Like, this is the match that his dad created, and he's never been in one of these matches. You know he wants to get in those two rings. He's got to be like team captain for whatever match that is. And then it's basically kind of Rumble season, isn't it? So that's his story. I think you can tide him over until April when he's losing.
He's such he's still such a big draw. There's still some matches you could throw. You could put him in a little mini feud and to keep him busy and stuff. But for Survivor Series, they're definitely keeping him with the Judgment Day guys to feud with, because I'm sure that's the War Games match.
What I love is whenever it's like his entrance, or like say Chris Jericho with Judas, and it cuts to the crowd singing, they always cut to someone who is singing but doesn't know the words. It's like, whoa, adrenaline in my soul, la-di-da.
Something Cody Rhodes. Yeah.
And
hey, but that song's over in Saudi. Number one downstate song in Saudi
Arabia, yeah. And then we had the main event, Roman Reigns defending the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against LA Knight.
All right, so without watching this match, I can tell you that Roman Reigns wins with outside interference.
Yes.
And that's what happens in this match. Spoilers, but that's what happens. I actually thought this did a whole lot of good for LA Knight, man. Like he came out, he's already a superstar at this point. And it's so happy to see that for this guy watching his career. But like, he's so over. The reactions he gets from doing every little thing is loud. People are so invested into this guy. And he was beating up Roman for a majority of this match. He was hitting, like, he had Roman up for that power slam pretty early in the match. The pop up into the power slam, like it was nothing, dude. And Roman's a big dog, so like really thought that was impressive. Some of the moves were good, and then it got to the Roman part where Roman's just like headlock, talking to the crowd. It's like the classic Roman's just doing Roman stuff. He's never one of my favorite in-ring workers, but I got to give him credit of like knowing how to get crowd reactions, and him mocking LA Knight, doing the pose thing and like doing like a Robert De Niro face. Yeah, dude, I was laughing really hard at that. Like, oh my God, I need to see you get beat up. But in the end, it was outside interference with the whole bloodline getting involved. And of course, the numbers game, and LA Knight got screwed. But it took a spear through the guardrail, which, guys, I watch wrestling.
Reinforce that thing.
Can we not stand there?
Yeah.
It's not safe. He does this move on everyone in every match. Why would you stand right near the bellkeeper? I don't know, timekeeper. But then the other spear, and that was what put him down. So I don't think this hurts LA Knight, but I do have questions of like, what do you do with him kind of going forward? But I thought this was great, and it kind of shows that he could hang with the main event scene. Like, if not, he was the one doing more of the work in this match.
I was pleasantly surprised with this match, because we know the Roman formula, and they're often quite plodding matches.
It's the same thing.
I really dislike that Jey Uso match, like at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But considering this is two kind of 5 moves of doom style wrestlers, I thought they worked such a better pace. I know LA Knight gets the Rock and Austin comparisons, but him starting the match like a Rock Austin match, where it's just go for the punches immediately rather than lock up, headlock, talk to the crowd. I thought it worked such a better pace. I thought he got a hell of a lot in. He's so over as well, where this crowd were just eating up on everything. I think this was actually one of Roman's better title defenses in his 3 and a bit year run. I really enjoyed it. And I think LA Knight he's not the most spectacular wrestler in the world, but I think he's better than people make out he is. I don't think he is just a promo. As you mentioned, like that pop-up into the power slam when a big dude is impressive. His Kurt Angle like leap to the top rope for superplex is impressive. And if he can combine like some exciting moves with his popularity, I'd kind of like to see going into Survivor Series. We know we have the War Games, but I think a traditional Survivor Series match would work too, like to maybe kick off the show. And I think maybe a team LA Knight, like him being a team captain facing whoever, could keep him busy. And then again, he's someone who has a story to tell going into the Royal Rumble. And And then it's Mania season where, as I said earlier, I think Logan Paul kind of makes sense. But yeah, I actually really quite enjoyed this match more than I thought I would, and kind of rounded off a pretty solid pay-per-view for me.
Yeah, Crown Royal was pretty decent. I didn't like hate anything on this show, and it definitely like it was kind of the safe show. You kind of figured where some of the outcomes of this were going to go, and vice versa. But I still enjoyed it. Match of the night may have been the Seth and Drew match, but as much as I knew where it was going and so paint by numbers, I did enjoy LA Knight and Roman Reigns as well. But
the highlight, a year ago, he was doing Max Dupree, and now he's main eventing, going for the title. Like, it's pretty crazy. This guy deserves it. He's been around for such a long time, and he's it's kind of cool to see him like get over, and now a different kind of WWE than we were in a year or 2 years ago, where they're listening to the crowd and, oh, this guy's popular, let's go with it. Sami Zayn's popular right now, let's go with it. Yeah. They're doing a good job, I think. I
mean, he's got to be one of their biggest stars and merch movers and everything. And everyone's been saying the thing, like it's caught on like so quickly, and like so good for him. And I know one day he will be champion if by the way things are going this way. But I'm sure he's got a bit of a gripe against Roman and the bloodline after this loss, as everyone seems to do. So I imagine War Games is like a bloodline type Judgment Day. I'm not really sure, but something like that. But I wouldn't mind a classic Survivor Series match on the show as well, as long as there's like stakes involved. Like why? What does it
stakes
mean?
And team names. We need
team names. What Team LA Knight?
Yeah, well, it's
team.
It'll be the LA Knights, won't it?
The LA Knights. Yeah, there you go. The Knights of LA.
Yeah, wasn't that
Shawn Michaels?
Way's favorite team?
Yeah, the Knights of something. Yeah, the Knights of Shawn Michaels. The Knights of LA will be his team name. But yeah, I think he'll have a big WrestleMania marquee match. And Logan Paul, the more you say that, maybe that makes sense. Like, I would love to hear LA Knight rip on Prime. So
then we move on to AEW. Is it unfair to say this might be the worst week in the history of this company?
Why? What happened to them?
I just thought it was terrible. I just thought this week was so lackluster.
I don't think that means it was the worst.
No, they've had worse weeks, to be fair.
They've had a lot of worse weeks, actually. Yeah.
But man, I did not enjoy AEW this week, and I think maybe let's start with
the big announcement, the huge
announcement. Yeah,
huge announcement. This is so fucking huge that it's going to change the core of AEW to the core.
Yeah. The announcement was tickets are going on sale for an event that most of you watching this won't be going to. So,
yep.
Like, do you feel this was a backup? Like, do you think there was another announcement he was hoping to make? And then, because we've heard that before. I think when he announced ROH, he said something like, well, I had something else if that was going to fall through. I was going to announce it. It just felt like this was the cheapest.
He's done this before, though. He did this before with Jay White. Remember, there was something that was happening, and then it was all of a sudden, oh, and Jay White's here. That was the surprise, and he was just like standing there. It was like, what? That's not really. And then later on, he said in like some interviews, like, actually, that was my like last minute, like, I owed them something, so I had to call Jay White.
That's right. Yeah, that's
it's like, what? Why would you do that? It's so weird. So you think this was a backup announcement? I don't think that. I think he was just.
Well, people are still excited. like whenever they're saying about this an announcement, everyone's going to the potential HBO Max streaming, whatever.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And yeah, whether something there has fallen through. I know I read, I think it was Fightful put out that kind of AEW's deal is kind of dependent on maybe where Raw and SmackDown land and the NBA lands and that all that kind of stuff. So everything's kind of contingent on each other. Whether something fell through there, it just this was the weakest announcement. Okay, like Jay White might have not blown the world away. I remember when he hyped up the announcement, and Christian Cage came in, and people were like, oh, okay, like Christian, whatever. It was still bigger than this. Like a ticket sale thing is something you have Shivani say, during a match at 9:30. You know,
and this is from two of us who are like thinking about going. So this would impact us. This does make me go, oh shit, do I have to get tickets? No, I was so like, what? That's what you teased up? Why did you use the word huge? Huge announcement. That is not it. So like instantly gave a reason for people to crap on you. I know your ratings are hurting, so you're trying to get like, oh, what's he gonna say? Like TNA used to do this so often. Like every week they'd be like, oh shit, who's under the mask? Who attacked who's coming in? And like this seems like they're trying to do the same thing, but when you're promoting like an announcement of ticket sales for a show that is in 9 months, 10 months,
10 months away. Yeah.
10 months away. So like the tickets are going on sale in a month. Like, okay, but what does that have to, what? That's just not a huge announcement. So it's just, I think if he didn't say anything and they just said that, I think it would have gotten a more positive reaction. Like, oh shit, tickets are on sale. I had a good time last time. But, maybe I will go. Fuck. All right, cool.
I think this is actually damaging because it puts big like ill will, I think.
It's the boy who cried wolf, really.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like
huge announcement.
You might
huge
be,
announcement.
You know, sometimes someone that DVRs this show and watches it after the fact, but then you're like, oh, I need to know what this announcement is. I don't want to be spoiled. I'll stay at home and I'll go out after or whatever. Like, and then you see that, you go, oh, fuck this guy. Like, yeah, it's
really bizarre. Again, we are really high on this company, and we spend money to go to these shows and buy tickets and everything. But I just thought it was so bizarre, just weird that you would try to get viewers on your show by saying you have a huge announcement, and it's that the show in the end of August in a completely different country is going on sale in a month.
Well, there was another huge show announcement, or should I say big show announcement.
Well, gonna take my horse to the old town road. Oh wait, that's a different song. It does sound the same though.
It's the same song.
Well,
Big Show Paul White teaming with Jericho and Kenny.
the golden white jets. The white gold jets. The white golden jets?
The big jets. Golden jets. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so a lot to unpack here. Where do we start with?
Is there?
Do we start with okay, so Big Show, Jericho is back. Do Big Show and Kota Ibushi do double team? Is Kota Ibushi gonna moonsault off of Big Show? That's the question that came to my head. Why is another question that came into my head, but the big one, the big question that right away struck me when Big Show Paul White came out there, no more BS, was, bro, what the fuck is going on with your knees? This guy walked out like the Bionic Man. Like, can someone lift the left one? All right, all right, stand there. You're telling me this guy's gonna wrestle? This guy couldn't even walk out on the stage.
He's gonna throw a punch, isn't he? That's gonna
can he even wind back? Like, look, I love me some Big Show through the years. He's a wrestling staple, but like this was so strange. And I know that he teased it a few weeks ago. Cool, but like, are we doing this just to have the visual of like Will Hobbs power slamming him, or like I said, Kota jumping off him, or like what could he physically do? Because he could barely walk out there. He looks like he's got like a robotic lower half of his body, and bless this guy, you know, he's 7 feet, he's huge, he's done years of entertaining us by jumping off stuff and busting up his knees, but like, do you really need to be getting in the ring? Is that something we need to see? And of course, the online community, the people like us, podcasters and wrestling people, we're all saying that, but is there like a community of fans out there who are like, oh fuck yeah, Big Show, I can't wait to watch this? Like, part of me doesn't think that there is. So I as much as I love this guy, I'm like, I don't see where anyone would be like, oh fuck, they have the Big Show, I gotta watch this.
To be fair, this is this isn't Full Gear, is it? This is Dynamite in a couple of weeks.
Right. Okay. In a few weeks. Yeah.
I forgive them a little bit for that, but I just feel off the back of, Ric Flair coming in last week. And this company that was built on these indie stars that weren't really WWE built and wanted to create something new and fresh. And then you had your select legends. You had your Jericho, you had your Sting. And a little later, you had your Christian and Bryan Danielson come in, but still mixing with these kids. It's getting further and further away from that now. And I remember going to WrestleMania, WrestleMania 30, I think, when the Authority were running wild, and everyone back then in 2014 were going, why are Kane and Big Show being given so much? Why are they like killing the likes of Dolph Ziggler and these people we want to see and get behind? And then it's 10 years later, and he, as I was going to say walk out, but as you said, can barely walk out. And people like Big Show, but it's not like, wow, we're going to see a Big Show match. I'm not excited for this match. I'm not overly excited about
Jericho. Better do a moonsault
anymore. Maybe that top rope drop kick he did at Halloween Havoc 1998.
He'll do a moonsault. He'll bust out the old moonsault. Okay. He used to do it, and he'll do him. Coda and Kenny will do the Golden Lovers moonsault combination.
You can't escape moonsault combo thing. Yeah,
man, it's so weird.
I don't know. I think perception is a lot, and I don't think it helps when you've got just so many of these old WWE guys now. It seems like this show right now is just full of bad comedy and old guys. And yeah, you still get some good matches. I thought Orange and Claudio had a great match kicking off the show this week. There's still really good stuff. The pay-per-views are still excellent and well worth my money. I don't begrudge paying for the pay-per-views at all, but it definitely feels that they're running out of ideas a bit. Tony Khan got through his 3-year worth of fantasy booking that he's had since he was a kid. And now he's, what do I do? Huge announcement and bring back an old guy.
Big Show coming out like Inspector Gadget, like half man, half robot with these giant tree trunk robot legs. I'm like, man, are you okay? Should you be out here? I guess he'll get beat up and the other guys get the win yet again. But yeah, very, very strange. Big Show and Kota Ibushi teaming up.
Who'd have thought it?
Not me. Not me.
What else did we have? So Dynamite, the main story was just MJF looking for friends to team with him in the main event.
Again, look, the AEW still does a good job of treating their young stars, MJF being the biggest one possible, the homegrown AEW talent being him. And they did a good job of the story through the show. It felt very WWE Attitude Era where The Rock needs someone and Mankind is like, oh, but I'm your friend. And The Rock doesn't want anything to do with him. But then at the end, he's like, all right, I'll team with you. And it definitely felt that way with the Acclaimed kind of hey, we'll be your friends. And then finally coming out with the pink, what do you call it?
Towel? Burberry?
No, scarf. Yeah, I was dying laughing at that. So I really enjoyed that. Him losing in the final stretch was also a little good wrinkle to that story where it's well, the Acclaimed actually helped you, but it was you that lost at the end. So he can't necessarily be upset at them. But I've been loving the MJF story. I loved the match with Kenny a week ago.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just wondering what's going on, because it's I'm pretty sure this guy's signed. The whole bidding war thing has kind of been dropped because he's quietly signed months and months and months ago that he's staying on to AEW for at least a few more years. But this week they've announced Garcia versus MJF one-on-one, which is amazing. Garcia should have been the one Kenny and Jericho got instead of Big Show in that feud. That's definitely where I thought that was going. But instead they're giving MJF another title defense on TV against someone who I think is amazing, who they've done nothing with. But it's just kind of strange because we have a pay-per-view where you have a title match with Jay White. And it's just, I don't know, something's definitely not like clicking maybe the way they think it should be, but they're still putting on some good stuff. Don't get me wrong, but lately, especially this week, was definitely one of my least favorite Dynamites to date. Not the worst one. I still think you were at the worst one. That one you were at in like
Rochester.
Fuck nowhere. Yeah, Rochester. That one definitely was a stinker. And I when it comes to like worst Dynamites, that one still comes to mind. So this week, yeah, it wasn't maybe everyone's cup of tea, but there still was some glimmers of stuff. Orange and Claudio, like you said, was really good. Yeah, this week, not so much.
Have you heard the kind of rumor going around about who might be the devil?
Yeah, it's CM Punk, right? Gotta be CM Punk.
So Britt Baker is in like a Doja Cat video or something, and she's doing the devil horns.
Yeah, I mean, the song is called Paint the Town Red, and it refers to like Doja Cat being a bit of a demon. And wrestling fans, of course, love to reach. And not for deodorant, but they love to reach. And they're definitely picking apart this music video collab. But tell me, this didn't air on Dynamite, right?
No, the video.
Yeah,
no.
So I actually haven't seen it. I've been seeing the images. I'm like, okay, wait, did they actually do this on TV or something? So like, if Doja Cat was announced for Dynamite, their ratings would definitely go up. But instead, they've announced Big Show. So definitely... They're definitely not. I'm really confused.
To be honest, I don't hate the idea. Like her tie with Adam Cole, and she's kind of been off TV for a while. It's as good a theory as anything going on right now. But
sure.
As I said, I'm not really into this devil story anyway, because there hasn't really been any, like, Jay White's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and he still has the title.
And he has the title.
Card Blade's great, though. Love me some Card Blade.
Oh, yeah. Switchboard.
Yeah.
And then did you catch Collision this week?
I actually did not. No, I thought it didn't look too good.
Honestly, nothing really happened. We set up Keith Lee versus Samoa Joe for Wednesday for the ROH TV title.
Okay.
Joe now officially the longest reigning TV champion in ROH history. And him versus Keith Lee could be pretty good, but Keith Lee is very cold for me. Like he came over from WWE and, I was treated badly there and stuff. And I can't say he's lit the world on fire here. He's in a tag team with Dustin Rhodes, and God bless Dustin. I think he's great, but it's 2023. I think this match could be good. I wonder if now Joe's got that record and he's got the story with MJF, like wanting to be his bodyguard, eventually wanting that kind of title match again, whether he needs the TV title anymore and whether it gives Keith Lee a bit of a shot in the arm and move him to ROH more. I don't know. Yeah.
I think this match sounds great. I think Dynamite looks pretty good next week. I think Tony's definitely realized some of the mistakes from last week. So we got MJF versus Daniel Garcia for the AEW World Title. Obviously, that will be bang.
Awesome, I think.
Yeah. We got Mark Briscoe taking on Jay White. Interesting. Another guy for Jay White to beat up. Like you said, Joe and Keith Lee for the ROH TV title. We got Swerve versus Penta, which definitely has my attention. And then Red Velvet and Julia Hart. Red Velvet's
back. Yeah.
Red Velvet is back, baby. So that is a Dynamite definitely to watch. And then there's still one more week after that before Full Gear. So
I will say there was something I did enjoy. The beginning of Collision, you had like Swerve backstage with Nana cutting his promo, and then AR Fox attacked him. And as the like Elton John songs playing and the fireworks going off, like AR Fox is just throwing him down the ramp. So they're like brawling down the ramp with just the pyro going off.
Yeah.
It was a pretty fun way to open the show, but really not much. Like they're building up, it's kind of the FTR Ricky Starks show at the moment. And the main event was fine there with LFI and stuff, but it really, this was a very skippable Collision. And for me, the big news was just the announcements for Dynamite coming up.
Yeah, I did not check out Collision. I would have. I mean, last week I did because of the big match announcement, but this week definitely didn't have anything that really wanted me to tune in and give it some time. There was other wrestling that I wanted to check out. Will say, I see someone in the chat right now, shout out Jacob, who's like, hey, did you guys watch Rampage, where there was a match that if you put this match on Dynamite, I think you would have had a lot more eyes on, which was basically the triple threat lucha dream match of Commander and was it Vikingo and Ray Phoenix, I think, in a match. Like, that's pretty crazy. So
I feel that's what Rampage is. It's just Rampage book wacky matches with no real backstory, and just like, I think that sounds more a fun show. Just an hour in, just pick this match. Kind of like when they did the, that like YouTube special where it was just Suzuki Danielson. Just throw it on a Rampage. And
it was Penta. Sorry, it was in the triple threat, and like some of the stuff coming out of that match was just incredible. Like some of the back and forth stuff. But Rampage is something I haven't watched in a very long time, and I wonder how long that show actually stays afloat with. Because looking at Collision this week, I could not tell the differences apart. Like, there's nothing on either show that definitely I wanted to watch. And like Saturday night, I'm sorry, I wasn't watching. And then today, I don't like. Collision can definitely be the show that once Sunday passes, you don't ever want to go back to fill it in. Like, I am a completist of sorts, but not when it comes to some of the shows that these wrestling shows keep putting out, because they're very repetitive, and some of the matches I don't really care about.
We also had Jake Roberts. He's now going to be managing Dutch and Vincent along with Lance Archer. So that seems to be a unit now. So
I do have to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, you have to go back and watch that.
Another big thing, sorry to cut you off. A big thing coming out of this week, I'd say, of AEW wasn't necessarily the TV. We can briefly say that obviously Edge, Adam Copeland, is the partner of Sting and Darby Allin for the pay-per-view, which sounds great. Edge and Sting and Darby versus Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. Yeah, okay, that's pretty great. Sting and
prolongs until we get to that singles match, I guess. Puts that
exactly, yeah. And these guys, like Christian in TNA going off with Sting, they were doing some crazy shit. And Edge was watching years ago, like, I could jump off ladders, I could jump through tables. Yeah. So now we're gonna get to see Edge with the cuffs off, being a bit silly and creative with some of the hardcore wrestling I know he's been itching to do. Because never forget, he speared Mick Foley through a fire table, and we're getting fire in AEW when it comes to Edge. So I am looking forward to that match. But I'd say the bigger story coming out this week wasn't on Dynamite, but everyone talking about AEW signing their newest young and up-and-coming superstar to a multi-year deal, Ric Flair.
All right.
I mean, like, not even, hey, Rick's going to come and ride for a few months on Sting's retirement. That's cool. That's great. But now we've signed him for multiple years, and we're going to sell his energy drink. It's going to be our main energy drink of AEW, the Woo Energy.
Jeez. Sure. Like, yeah. I said, like, I don't feel comfortable watching Ric Flair on TV anymore.
Is it because you think he's going to die?
Kind of.
Live on television, right?
I feel like he's going to break down in tears whenever he walks out. I worry about what he's going to say. And I worry about him dying. And I don't put it past TK booking him in a match either. So I think it was nice, like, having the moment, him and Sting. I think him going out there for Sting's final match will be cool. Like, that's great. I think your money could maybe be best used elsewhere.
It's like, okay, what are you going to gain out of this? Are you going to gain most of the wrestling fans who don't really know about some of the stuff Ric Flair has been accused of, or B, don't really care anymore? And it's like, yeah, it's Ric Flair. He's going to die soon, whatever. There's definitely like a bunch of fans that are really against this, obviously, for someone like Ric Flair, who is known for like saying bad things and being accused of bad things. And there's definitely that. And I think if you told me last week, I think my opinion last week was like, yeah, it's Sting's going to retire in a few months, having Rick show up once or twice to like really cap off their careers that's cool. That could be special. But now you're telling me, no, this guy's like signed. We're going to use this guy in everything. He's going to be in our video games. He's going to be, if they make another one, he's going to be in our, our show every week. We're going to have his energy. Like, you're telling me now this guy has fleeced you for money. Like, this guy has done this to a lot of other people. And now you're saying, TK, you're just another one of those.
Did he get divorced again recently? Like, is that what's going on?
It's just like, even me, last week, I literally said on a show, like, I'm okay with Ric Flair being here in AEW. That was last week. Now this guy's signed on for like, what, 5 years? Is this guy going to even live for 5 years?
Respectfully, yeah. Is that like, a decent
what?
Investment? Like,
so, like, is it worth pissing off a lot of your other fans who are now right away, like, writing AEW off? Like, oh, wow, you've just become another, like, wrestling company. Like, look at TK who uses his Twitter fingers to go off on Vince McMahon, this and this and this. It's like, yeah, well, Ric Flair isn't necessarily a clean rap sheet to bring in here. So it's definitely interesting, and I just don't see what actual value Ric Flair could be. Because I said earlier about Big Show, it's like, are there fans out there who don't use social media or Twitter and just go, fuck yeah, I love wrestling, I'm going to go to this. Oh, Big Show's on the card? Cool. That doesn't that wouldn't make me go, oh, I have to buy a ticket. But I know a lot of people who would be like, oh, it's Ric Flair. Okay, I know him. Yeah, I'll buy a ticket to the show. He's going to be on it. Is he wrestling? No, but he's on it. Oh, okay, cool. They probably don't know Ric Flair beyond that. They probably haven't watched Dark Side of the Ring. They don't go on social media or read websites and stuff. So it's like, that could bring in people, but like, is it worth pissing off other people, like your real hardcore fans? So it's definitely like a catch-22. And again, very interesting move from TK, and I honestly don't know if that will pay off for him in the way I think it will, because you've pissed a lot of people off. So and you will continue to. And like you said, this is 1 week in, and it's like, this guy with a live mic can be very, very, very uncomfortable. He could die on TV. He could cry on TV. He could say something. He could bring Charlotte in. Things could get real bad for AEW. He could bring Charlotte to AEW, and then we're done. We're cooked, baby. It's TNA.
Before we move away from AEW, there was one other thing that was kind of a little confusing to me. Like, I want to preface with this, I don't really care about ROH, especially trios titles, but Young Bucks and Hangman dropping the titles just seemed a little odd this close to Final Battle, because I assumed these guys were strapped up to kind of be a bit of a draw for the ROH pay-per-view coming up next month. And perhaps we'll get the rematch at that pay-per-view, or maybe it could just be they're moving on to other things. I don't know. But that was, I guess, newsworthy from Dynamite.
Yeah, I still don't know their names, but they're tag champions now, so I guess I should give them the respect and learn them. But the Gates of Agony are the trios champions. Yeah, kind of weird, but I guess goes with the storyline that Hangman was so flustered by Nana and Swerve and stuff, which ended up him costing like that. Whatever, I guess. But yeah, kind of interesting if they still want people to care about these ROH pay-per-views, which must be really hard and difficult. But as much as people are ragging on TK and his ROH stuff, like, by the numbers, I think ROH is doing better than it's ever done.
Yeah.
So really, like, it looks bad when there's like a huge 10K arena that's only with like 3. But like, we've all been to ROH shows before. There was never 3K people at those shows. So like,
no,
you got to look at it with 2 sides of the coin. But yeah.
Yep. We had New Japan Power Struggle this week, and kind of newsworthy as well. We had a killer main event between Will Ospreay and Shota Umino for the New Japan US/UK Championship
/IC
whatever to
possibly
be a new title down the road. But I know you caught this and was singing this match's praises.
Oh man, I mean, the promo that Ospreay cut before this match last week was fantastic. Ospreay definitely underrated promo this year. I've been loving his promo work, but he said, "I'm not sure it's safe for me to leave New Japan in the hands of you. You're not ready, Shooter. You're not the guy. You're not like no, they don't have no one here." I love how he just turned it on Shooter.
He's saying about like the other kind of like young guys like Yota Tsuji and have had such more of a connection with this crowd than you have and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I thought that was great, and this definitely brought out the like killer Death Rider inspired instinct of Shota, which it must be really awkward to have your dad refereeing the match.
That's a conflict of interest, right?
Right? I love red shoes,
wouldn't
but
have that in any other
eyebrow
sport,
raising,
right?
Yeah, eyebrow raising there. I love red shoes. I don't care about any of the criticism anyone ever has to say about red shoes. You can all get fucked. But why is he refereeing your kid's match? Like, that's definitely like you're gonna cheat to win. And if it was me, I would definitely in the future use that as a like storyline or something possibly. But yeah, his own dad refereeing. Shout out Red Shoes. I love Shooter, man. I think he got some new fans when he showed up at the Forbidden Door last year, and some people were like, "Wait, who is this guy?" And then it's like, "Oh, that's the young boy Moxley had," and this and that, and like, look where he's kind of coming now. To me, he looks like he's he dresses like he's Tanahashi, but he's definitely wrestling like his own man now. And I've been loving the kind of run he's been doing, and this was the match that definitely made him a man, because him and Ospreay were just killing each other. I think he went longer. The story is he lasted longer than Kenny, than Okada, than Zack Sabre Jr. Like, Ospreay barely beat him is the storyline of this kind of feud. And even after the match of Ospreay beating him, they had a respect angle where they both were like holding each other's hands, like, and Ospreay's pretty much like, yeah, actually you will run with New Japan. They will be okay with you because you can hold your own. But it was a killer match. They were beating the shit out of each other. There's some crazy counters. Shota definitely stepped up, and I would say is the better up and coming star than even their fucking world champion right now in New Japan. So he definitely is a future star for them, and I think will take them into the next world. But the real question is like, what happens with Ospreay, which we can get into. But after the match, it was Moxley who was ringside because of the whole Shooter thing. That after the match, it was Mox and Ospreay going to have a bit of a face-to-face when they both are attacked and beaten up by David Finlay, who then takes a giant Smash Bros hammer to both the titles and says that, screw you both. And now it's a triple threat match at Wrestle Kingdom. Ospreay, Moxley, and Finlay for what seems to be a new title, which could possibly just be the new IC title without having the UK or US or whatever. So kind of a weird move, considering I think Moxley and Ospreay one-on-one at the Dome already with the other stuff announced is crazy. And then you've just inserted fucking David Finlay into
who they're really trying to get over in New Japan. Like, I'm with you. I much prefer the singles match here, but maybe it's a bit of a political thing. Mox isn't signed with New Japan. He's a AEW talent. Ospreay might be on the way out as well. So, and especially,
so he's going to stack him and pin him, just like Roman did to Edge and
I guess
and
so.
Brian.
I mean, I'm sure still like these, like Finlay, like he's not really my cup of tea. He's still a good wrestler, and I think Ospreay and Mox are known to bring the best out of people as well. So I think the match should be pretty good. I'm sure with Mox being in there, there'll be some crazy stuff. I gotta sing the praises of Moxley versus Great O'Khan from this show as well. Okay.
I was definitely gonna skip it until a few of us, including Dickie Bird in our chats, was like, no, watch this. So I did quickly throw it on today, and it starts with them brawling. The ref is like counting them out, counts them out. They continue to brawl, and then they get pulled apart, and then Moxley grabs a mic, and as he says, "Give me a fucking mic." They give him one, and he goes, "Nah, I'm here for a fight. So we're going to have a match. And since we're fighting everywhere, no falls count anywhere." So the match starts, and then they never get back in the ring, and they fight all around the crowd into like the like areas, and they murder each other. But the real story comes. The most heinous thing. I saw John Moxley stick skewers in his head, and I thought, this is a fucking mad cunt. But then Moxley pulls out scissors and cuts off Great-O-Khan's braid.
No!
In the middle of the match, which then causes Great-O-Khan to go insane. And then they just murdered each other. This is one of the like highlights in New Japan for me. I love the main event. It didn't touch that, but I really loved this where they were just killing each other. So part of me is like, why wouldn't Great-O-Khan join in on like David Finlay's kind of thing here? So it is a little weird with the rankings order of who in New Japan, but I thoroughly enjoyed some of the stuff I watched on Power Struggle show. So good stuff. And Wrestle Kingdom's like looking pretty stacked. Yeah.
So we also had the announcement, Bryan Danielson sending in a video from the desert again, wearing an eye patch. And saying like, yeah, I've beaten you twice, but you've broken my bones twice. And I want you at Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome, and I'm going to break your bones so you'll never be able to hit the Rainmaker again.
Damn.
Like that match, I think we were hoping and assuming this was going to happen. It's now confirmed.
Official.
It's Brian's going to be out for a little bit with this injury, but should be fine by January, whether might be wearing a face mask or something to protect. We've seen in the past with wrestlers, but yeah, I think the story here is great. And then news coming out that Danielson, it wasn't even in the match last Wednesday where he got injured, but it was the match against Andrade, and it was actually the initial lockup that Aaron Elbow broke his orbital bone. So wrestled that whole match with a broken orbital bone and then worked on Wednesday. Like Danielson is nuts.
Insane.
I do feel a bit bad for Andrade. Like Okada's taking the credit for like this injury, but
Andrade's like, what am I?
Well, I did that. That was me. That was me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story's there. I loved Okada, like, mocking Danielson that he'd broken him again. It kind of in a way reminds me of Undertaker Triple H Hell in a Cell, where the build for that was Undertaker won the no holds barred match, but Triple H walked out of that and Undertaker was stretchered out. And it's kind of the same here. Like, yeah, Danielson technically now has 2 wins, but Okada's broken him both times. And with this being the second match, there's always room for a rubber match down the line as well. But this definitely has my attention.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love all the things going on in wrestling right now. Wrestling's super hot. We got all these different companies, but Danielson and Okada, the big boys are wrestling soon. This is the serious shit. And the rematch definitely will deliver. We were at Forbidden Door 2 when these two main evented, and it's crazy to think Brian got his arm broken and still wrestled. The part of this video where he's got the eye patch, but when it shows the scar, zoomed in on the scar on his arm, I felt that when he's like, yo, I beat you, but you hurt me. So I'm the one who wants revenge. And it makes for such a simple story. And I cannot wait. I'm so jealous of anyone going to this Wrestle Kingdom show this year, because it's looking like a pretty stacked show, and not because of Sonata, but like this match they're gonna merge. Someone will get another broken bone in this match. Like, you have to predict that someone's getting hurt.
Yeah. Strange we're not getting Kenny Ospreay 3.
Are we not? Oh, right.
Because Ospreay's been announced that triple threat. So the fact that we didn't get it at Wembley, I think a lot of people were assuming we're getting it at Tokyo Dome, but we're not. So I wonder if Kenny's going to be on this show at all. Or if he is, who do you have him face?
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, okay, so Brian and Okada in the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo is the main event. There's Sonata and Naito can't tell me nothing, because that is the match that people are going to be going absolutely crazy for. When was the last time Brian wrestled in Japan? Like the second they played the video, like they play it and then you got the crowd reaction of it. And then it cuts to Okada, who goes, Brian, my answer is yes. And mocking him again with the yes chant. Like, the crowd are like, oh fuck, Danielson's wrestling over here. So I feel like that's going to be a pretty big deal for New Japan, and already has my attention. But if we want to look at this card, Sonata versus Naito for the IWGP World Title, honestly, Naito should beat him, and let's move away from Sonata, please. He's so boring. Okada and Danielson, like I mentioned, we got the Hiromu Takahashi taking on El Despy. Yes, we've seen these guys wrestle before, but they have some incredible chemistry, and giving them the dome highlight feature here, I think, is the best viable option for that junior division. So already I can tell you that match will be like incredible. So this pay-per-view has my attention. And now you've added this 3-way. But yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that with Kenny and Ospreay. Where does that leave him? I guess he's just not featured on this card, at least not yet, right? Like that's nuts. Who else is there?
Yeah,
in a match against Ishii?
I mean,
like I don't know.
Or you know, like a Yoda Tsuji, or one of those young guys you're really trying to
Shooter.
Yeah, I mean, I think Naito wins this title, and then I think he drops it pretty much immediately at the next pay-per-view. And I think, I think he should drop it to one of these young guys. And I think Tsuji is the guy I think is the most complete at this point, and I can see them strapping the rocket to him. So maybe have Omega go in, and you know, you can also have the Don Callis thing where he costs him and recruits someone else maybe to his thing. I don't know, or maybe he's just off the card.
Yeah, maybe he's just like, no, I'm going to sit this one out, which I do find bizarre. I figured we would be going to Ospreay Kenny 3 in the near future, which means maybe we just hold off till we're back in Toronto again.
Wembley or Toronto.
I mean, it should be Wembley. It should be fucking Wembley. Yeah, it should have been at Wembley.
Be Wembley main event.
Fucking bastards. But yeah, New Japan definitely is picking up. I'm someone who definitely cherry picks and listens to other people's like, hey, watch this match, and I definitely check it out. But around this time, with having some crossovers, like just think, I'm getting excited because I think back to when AEW like first kicked off, our first like proper year of AEW, and then the pandemic hit, and that stopped like so much of these big like dream matches and things. So I'm happy that we're finally getting more Moxley in Japan, getting Danielson in Japan. So I'm wondering if we get others. Do we get MJF wrestling over in, you know, the Tokyo Dome? Great-O-Khan randomly referenced that. I don't think there's any merit to it, but like you could be getting a few others.
I do want to credit Tony Khan with this. Like as negative as I've been on some of the stuff going on recently, we haven't had promoters book these big matches, you know, between these two companies. Like you go back to like WCW with Great Muta coming over, but like WWE haven't done it, and like Impact would do it, but they wouldn't use the guys correctly, and it wouldn't feel like main events, where Tony Khan is the first person to really get into a room and be like, hey, we have Danielson. He's one of the best in the world. You have Okada. Let's make money. Let's do this. And I got to credit him for this, because this should happen more in wrestling, and it just doesn't. So
definitely looking forward to this show. Last year we stayed up for Ospreay and Omega. This year I'm thinking some more people might be staying up for some of these matches. So looking forward to it for sure. I know we've still got a lot of time, but they treat it like a pretty big show, and I get jelly. I want to go back to the Tokyo Dome one day, but this is looking like a pretty solid show, and there's only so far 5 matches announced, including this tag team match as well. So we'll see going forward, but definitely looking forward to that. It looks crazy, and I love the visual of wrestlers wearing eye patches.
Yeah,
because like this one wasn't even like a pirate eye patch. This was like a bandage, like covering the photo you've got using for this show. It's like he looks like he's haggard. He's like what, Snake Plissken?
Yeah,
or like a homeless Snake Plissken in the desert, calling out this Japanese dude because he broke his face. I fucking love wrestling, and it's better than anything else other shit people watch.
In regards to like booking big matches, Job Nobley in the chat says Starcade 1996 says hi. I say hi. That was 27 years ago. You know, like it hasn't happened for so long. Did you see the Twitter exchange between Ospreay and Seth?
Yes. So what happened? It was Will Ospreay using the eye emojis to Seth retaining the WWE World Heavyweight title, and Seth replied, "The water's warm over here."
Yes.
Come on, the water's warm. Jump in.
I don't even know what that
Do
means, but I guess he's saying like, yeah, come on.
It's like, yeah, come be here. It's it's good. Yeah. So I don't know. That's the big story is where is Ospreay going to go? He seems like he's doing that. Yeah. He seems like he's going through his hoe phase a little bit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's got his whole roster, and the roster is not the wrestlers in this. He's got his roster of WWE keeps calling him, but he just wants to be friends right now. He's got AEW keep calling him. He doesn't know if he wants to commit.
And all of this drives his price up, right? And
he's like the Bachelor.
And you know who? And I know you're gonna poo-poo this, but you know, a certain company is going through a bit of a rebrand. They're gonna book more prestigious venues. Like if they landed Ospreay and Punk, like if they just shell out and do that, that is a shot in the arm, and especially at a point where people are lower on AEW as an alternative, like that could be good for them and become a viable number 3.
I feel like you need a lot of money to do that, and I don't think they have that. As much as I know, Ospreay's been dabbling with TNA, and he's been saying, he cut this promo just this week saying like, "Oh, I'm a TNA guy and this and that," and I don't know. It sounds like he's gassing,
field, isn't he?
He's definitely gassing him up. We've all been there when you're like, "Oh, I like this." Well, you know, her apartment's really nice, but you know, she's a really good cook. He's being smart about it. He's being smart about it. And I mean, I personally would like to see him continue this kind of run he's doing here, where he's just allowed to really kind of do whatever he wants. He's got a little bit of freedom. He's in an open relationship where he's just able to wrestle anyone he wants. But when it comes time to settle down, you know, in 3 or 4 years, 5 years, when he you know, he's getting a little older, go to WWE, make that money, main event WrestleManias. He'll be killing it with Seth and all these other guys over there. That's not even like the biggest of dream matches, but some of them right now in the world of wrestling, like he is the guy. Like this guy has more match of the year candidates this year than like wrestlers have their entire career. So he's been absolutely killing it. Like just like so incredible to watch. And his match to watch today was just another one of them. I'm like, oh my God, this is easily one of the best matches of the year. But like all the matches of the year are like him. Like all of them this year are going to be Ospreay versus this person, Ospreay versus like Kenny. It's got
to be one of the most incredible years in any wrestler's.
It has to be.
He's just been on this
insane run. Yeah. So where do you want to see Will Ospreay? Will it be TNA Wrestling?
Then finally, some pretty funny news I saw come out. We talked last week about NWA Power getting a deal with CW. Well, that looks like it might be out the window or changing. Maybe it's not going to be on broadcast TV, but move to the streaming app, because at their Sarwin pay-per-view, Father James Mitchell, was doing lines of cocaine with the other roster on the stage.
So this was a part of the show.
Fucking hilarious, yeah.
Okay, so I saw the video. I saw
some big wigs at the CW.
So they thought it would be a funny idea to do a blow spot on the show. Yikes. This wasn't even like, oh, he got caught backstage, someone took a photo of him. No, this was featured on the pay-per-view.
So I went to a OTT show in Dublin once years ago, and they had some of the cast of Father Ted, an Irish sitcom about these like priests and stuff. And one of the characters is known to do a lot of cocaine. And during one of the matches, a guy was just being beaten up, and this vicar gets like a bag of white powder and like smashes it in his face. And then he like does the whole Hulk up spot and starts like firing back up and wins the match. It was pretty funny. I don't know if you'd get away with it on TV or not, but it was funny and worked within a wrestling context as a ridiculous. Right. This is just James Mitchell with a bunch of talent. Just
I'm watching it right now. Coke. Yeah, he's with like a bunch of women.
Think it's just like the when the APA are playing like poker in the back. It's like one of them. They're just snorting lines on the stage.
You know what though? I don't condone that personally, but as just someone watching, maybe I got to give NWA a chance. Maybe I should be watching this more frequently. I watched the first episode of The Wrestlers on Netflix just last night.
Actually.
I was like,
I watched it
oh
yesterday.
yeah, okay, nice, yeah. I went on this like Netflix documentary binge last night, to be honest. First, I started watching the Toronto episode of Catching Killers. It's a 2-parter featuring the Church Street Killers from a few years ago, which was terrifying watching as a Torontonian, Davey. This is a freaky fucking episode. So definitely check that out. But then I was like, I'm watching all these true crime. Let me watch something a bit lighthearted so I don't have nightmares about, cannibalism or whatever. So I spoilers. But then I watched The Wrestlers, and I watched the first episode, and I thought it was really good.
I'm about 3 in. I'm really enjoying it, actually.
Okay, I got to catch up. I'll probably watch the rest tonight. So definitely some thoughts maybe next Sunday when we do a show, because I'm hearing a lot of like my non-wrestling friends are telling me about it, and it was getting annoying. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got to watch it because I'm the wrestling.
I'm
a wrestling guy, right?
The bar that knows that I like wrestling, they go, "Oh, you must have seen The Wrestlers." And I'm like, "No, I kind of know what it's up, but I think it's done really well."
I've not even finished it, Davey, but I honestly hope that it's caught on so much that next season they do it with a different company, and then the next season they do it with like WWE. Like I want to see different stories with everyone, because I've mentioned I love WoW, Women of Wrestling, and Hollywood Haley J, who's a big part of this documentary, is a character on WoW that I watch, and now like seeing this about her, I'm like way more in her corner than I would have if you just take a first glance at someone, right? Like you kind of get that people's actual stories and not just that character, but like they do a good job of explaining what wrestling is, and they do a good job of making Al Snow seem relevant again. So got to give him credit.
Wrestling legend,
absolute wrestling legend.
And it's done good for their business as well. I believe their like stuff on Fight is getting way more views than it was before this documentary was on. So good for them. But yeah, I'm actually quite enjoying it. I know we're a little behind the curve there, but enjoying this one.
Yeah, we'll definitely catch up on the rest of it for sure.
Anything else before we head off and enjoy our Sunday?
I can't really think. I know AEW's got Full Gear in a few weeks. Definitely looking forward to that. WWE, what's next? Survivor Series? Right, on the 25th. So this month's pretty packed. Like I said, any Toronto people out there, get your tickets and come hang out with us for Survivor Series on the 25th at Gabby's. And, while we're on the subject of Wrestle Kingdom, if there's any Toronto area people that are interested in a watch along for Wrestle Kingdom live, maybe we could try to make some sort of thing happen. So if there's any interest from Toronto or GTA people, let me know, because then maybe we'll sort something that can hang out. Because I'm one of those crazy people that will stay up. I think it's a Tuesday morning. Then I think
Tuesday morning. Oh, that sucks for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm definitely gonna stay up. I did it last year and it was ridiculous, but I'm definitely gonna try to do that again. So anyone out there, let us know. But I would love to see you at Survivor Series at Gabby's on the 25th in November, because it's going to be a lot of fun with War Games, as Jake in the chat says. Sad Regal didn't announce it. Yeah, I wonder if we get Regal back doing it for the proper way. We're going to have a Raw or SmackDown in a few weeks where all the teams are fighting. William Regal will just come out and say it, and then we'll kick off our War Games season. But yes, thank you everyone for listening to us, and everyone in the YouTube chat today. We will be back next Sunday, 2 p.m. to chat all about the world of wrestling, some Dynamite and Collision. But this Tuesday night, I will not be going live, because I'm going to go live on Wednesday at 1 p.m. with John Ceno for a new Up Next. So come hang out 1 p.m. on the Wednesday. Put your frogs up in the chat. Search Poisonrana in your podcast app. I'm sure you did that already. You found us. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. And check out our Patreon. It's only $5 a month to access all the other podcasts that we do. And we do so many in there. The other day at work, I had Lost Boys on, the movie Lost Boys, and I took a picture of it. And a listener messaged in saying, "Oh, you're watching Lost Boys. You guys got to review that." And I said, "We did, like 2 years ago." And then he went, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I never listened to this one." So then he clicked play, and then like later he's like, "Oh my god, great review." So yes, we have so many reviews of different wrestling events and movies in our Patreon catalog there. So go check it out and scroll through. And if you're a Spotify user, it makes it even easier to kind of access all these shows and read about what we do over there. So Poisonrana.ca for everything that we do, and lots and lots of stuff that we do. But we appreciate you spending time with us. Is that it, Davey?
That is all.
That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And let's pray that Ric Flair does not take any more bumps. Unless he's on NWA. That might be a different...
Yeah, true.
different kind of bumps.
And never has this been more appropriate, but ahoy!
Poisonrana.